Whether it be two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive, or these badass little mid-sized vehicles we all love to drive, this is your all-terrain nation. I'm your host, David Boyd, and today we are talking mid-sized trucks. And I've just got done doing a bunch of time in some mid-sized trucks, so I have some fresh thoughts on the segment, and hopefully you guys have some questions, because that's what makes this channel what makes this kind of fun is when you guys ask kind of questions and have some fun. That's what this show is about. But I hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday afternoon, because I'm talking to you guys. So once again, hopefully everything is okay. And so today, what I want to do, I'm going to go through kind of a couple of the trucks, the Ranger Raptor, the Tacomas, the twins. I'm going to call the Tacomas the twins, the Trail Hunter and the Pro, because they're basically identical except for a snorkel and some attachments. And then we're going to talk about the ZR2 as well. And I've done time in all three of these vehicles. And obviously, if you're not new to the channel, you know I have owned one of these vehicles. I recently got rid of the Ranger Raptor, and I'm sad about that every day of my life, but it is what it is. But I want to kind of contrast and compare. And I'm curious, and I want to ask the question from the get-go. Do you have one of these? And if so, I'm curious. Let me know in the comments. Which do you have out of the new three, best of the top three? And is there something you would change about it? Because there's something in each one of these trucks that I've kind of noticed that I'm just like, well, it's okay. I feel like for the price we pay for these super trucks, and it seems from the Ranger Raptors, $58,000 entry level, all the way up to the pros, which are at $73,000 for the TRD Pro. And then you throw in the ZR2 in the middle. Depending on how you option it, you can get it for mid 50s, or if you want the best of the best, you go with the Bison, and well, you're $65,000, man. So there's quite a few options out there to choose from, and hopefully when you choose, if you haven't yet, you choose the one that makes sense for you. So what will we talk about first? Sorry, literally just ran up here, ran to my studio to do this because I was running late, as it were. So let's see. I see people in here, but no comments so far, but that's okay. So let's start with what I have owned so far, and that is the Ford Ranger Raptor, the 2024 Ford Ranger Raptor. And let me bring a picture or two of it up, and we can discuss it that way. If you're new to the channel, this has been my dream truck for a long time. As soon as Ford said yes, it's coming to the United States, I had to have this truck. And like I said, it's gone, and I'm sad that it's gone, and hopefully it's gone to a good home by now. But it went to not Brighton Ford. It went to Alcione Ford in Illinois, and they bought it from me, and we made a deal. And if I could find a damn picture of this stupid thing, like I said, not 100% prepared because I was running late here. But the truck was everything I thought it was going to be and more. I mean, we took it to the dunes in Michigan. We had a blast with this thing. It performed like a champ. It just 100% did everything I asked it to do. And I've never had a mid-sized truck that was like that. Most of the time when you kind of own a truck, it's got to do multiple things. You're probably never completely happy with it. But this truck here just did everything I asked it to do. And one or two things that I might change about it, but so far it seems to be, out of everything I've seen so far, the king of mid-sized trucks. And I know ZR2 guy's going to come in here and they're going to say, well, wait a minute, because they do front rear lockers just like this Ranger Raptor does. But this truck is so much more capable than what the ZR2 is. And yes, I know it's kind of comparing apples to oranges, because both of them you get front rear lockers. The Raptor's made to do a little bit more high-speed stuff, where the ZR2 is made more for the kind of the brawny rock crawling. And then, you can option ZR2 with the Bison and get it with 35s, which you cannot do with the Ranger Raptor. But horsepower is king, man. And when you look at this truck at the base, what is it, 405 horsepower? And with the optional tune now, you can get up to 455 horsepower. That's ridiculous. And there for a while, even the Toyota Tundra or the Tacoma Pro, it was kind of king with the torque band. But now, once you option the $800 tune on this truck, man, you're not even close to what this truck can do with the others. But it still has some flaws. And what's up, Kevin P? The truck still does have a few flaws to it, and it's not nearly perfect, as I'd like it to be. I think from the get-go, part of what I would like to see with this truck is some brawnier fenders. I need some hips with this thing. I think what the Gen 1 Raptor in general, the F-150 Raptor, what the part of the appeal of that truck was of how big the hips looked on it, how it had that hourglass, silhouette. And slowly the Raptors have, I mean, they have it a little bit, but I just would have liked to seen this have a little bit more. Now, being this is a global truck, is it humbled by regulations from dealing with every country out there? They sell on pretty much every continent now. Does that hamper the ability to Ford to produce this truck at a price? Because maybe if this was just a US build truck, maybe we're looking at $75,000 for this truck. So we should be happy that they're spreading the love a little bit. And then, Australia starts out with the market, and then it creeps into Africa and slowly to the United States. So does that keep it more affordable? I probably would say yes. More than likely, I'm 99% sure that says yes. And I do know, 33s is about the max tire you want to go in Australia, depending on which province you're in, because some of them, 35s are a no-no. And each kind of state that they have over in Australia has such extreme regulations. And I know they battle it. And I've read from, people that were just traveling through, and the police over there would give them such a hard time. So I would like to see this thing with just a little more hips, and I would like to see it with 35-inch tires. Now, the engine option, the 3-liter in this thing, very happy with it. It's spunky as is. You can get it from the factory, 405 horsepower. You can get this truck sideways really quickly, and I mean really quickly. It has enough torque to do some spinnies if you want to, and that made me very happy. And when I first got this truck, of course, I bought it in Michigan, drove it straight to Tennessee on a 10-hour trip. Really just experienced highway, but I got to know the interior of the truck really well, which I was very, very happy the way all the buttons, everything about it's easy to use. One thing I don't like in the interior is the vent up on top of the dash. It's like a cooling vent for that large screen. You'll see the slots in it. I wish they would have put the hero buttons like they did on the Bronco up there, and not have to do the lockers through the screen, that's probably my primary beef with this truck is it's too difficult to figure out in a extreme situation that you need to quickly get into your front or rear locker. It's just too difficult. Yes, you can turn the dials and you can go to rock crawl and that stuff. But sometimes when I've been off-roading and I need a front locker, I need it. Like I've always had mechanical lockers, so it was easy to shift them into it. My old aux lockers were very easy to deal with a truck that way. And tech, yes, it helps us out, and it's cheaper for the manufacturers to put it into the screen because it's just programming. But come on, Ford. I want real buttons, and I think I've seen that's. I think I know. I've seen multiple people in these Facebook forums or in forums in general that do not like it built into the screen. So I kind of would like the Raptor to kind of head that way. I would like to see them go to push buttons. Will they do it? No. No, they're not ever going to do that because we're lucky to have this truck. So Ford's going to just put their head in the sand, as it were, and be like, "No, you got the truck that we wanted to give you, and that's all you're going to get." But have you had any issues with the off-road functions of this truck just yet? Because there's a lot of good functions to it. The I'm bitching about the buttons of it, but the layout of everything's great. I like the fact that you're getting a real knob for your volume, your radio, and AC, your cooling. You're getting still functions, even though they're built into the screen. You also get the analog functions under it, which is nice. And I'm torn of why we needed two different versions of that. You have this beautiful, beautiful elongated screen, and then we only use half of it for actually the infotainment, and the other half is your HVAC. But I'm not going to complain because I will say, out of all of these three trucks that I've been in, I do find that the Ranger screen in general is the best layout. I've said it many times in videos as we've especially this year, because I've noticed it more and more this year. That goofy Tesla, we got to shove everything up. The Tacoma has it probably the worst out of the three, and Chevy's not far behind with the way the screen pops up. I'm just not a fan of that. I think there's a beautiful way of doing it. If you look at the Lexus, the LX 550, the way they've taken the dash and just merged it in with the screen, and it's style, but yet I don't feel like it was an afterthought. And that's how I feel with the Ranger Raptor. I feel like the screen was well thought out. The placement's great. When I used the maps on it, I didn't really feel like because I had to look down just a hair. I never felt like it was like bothering me, and so I'm going to give that truck an A plus on that. I know my buddy Kevin P there. He had one of these things, and I assume you still have yours, Kevin. But hopefully you're still enjoying that truck because it's a great truck. And I think price once again. I hear the ZR2 crowd always fuss at me when I say the Raptor is probably the best value out of all of them because they're like, hey, you can get ours starting around 49, but you're not your leaf spring truck. This is a full coil truck. This thing's set up just to go straight fast. Your truck's doing more multiple things. And the four cylinder, let's be honest, 310 horsepower, that's not going to cut it anymore. And it may cut it for brands like Nissan, are okay just being the second or third, maybe the fourth truck. They're just happy, chugging along, making sales. If you want to play in this game, 310 horsepower now is that's weak sauce. But it is what it is, and I can sit here and whine all day about that. But and you guys have probably heard me whine quite a bit about that truck, even though I think the ZR2 is by far, well, the GMC is my far my favorite, but ZR2 would be a close second, as it were, to being my favorite designs. And I think bring this picture up here. Where are you at? Where are you at, ZR2? There you are. Which one should I use? What a good front end picture. We'll just have to deal with it like this. Just have to deal with it like this. I apologize for the poorly planned here. So let's prop this up. And if you're listening to this, we are bringing up the picture of the new ZR2, and this is the Bison version. And I got to do time with this truck in Wisconsin. I was at a press event and able to drive the ZR2, and especially in Bison mode. And the ZR2, I was excited to drive because I like this truck quite a bit, minus the engine. I think by far it's the most brawny of the three. I think the rock rails you see on the side of this thing, look at these things. These definitely are made to take a beating, even though they're still, I believe they're body mounted, if I remember right. I'm still not a big fan of that, but that's a lot of protection to protect your vehicle. And those wheels, these Bison wheels, are great. But the ZR2, if you take the Bison package away, you're still getting an amazing truck, and it is a value. You're getting that front and rear lockers, which means a lot when you're off-roading. Jerry says my Raptor is still available. Thank you, sir. I bet they're itching. I bet they're willing to make a deal on it because they're itching to get these things out of there. I know they've been trying to move some metal. I believe our Bronco is still available as well. But this package here is amazing. It's just the price. And like I said, you can get these ZR2 for about $49,000 starting out. If you can pull them away from a dealer for that. That's still with this. High performance vehicles like this, there's still kind of a pain in the ass to get dealers to cooperate and just sell them. They're not gold, man. Don't hold on to these things and overcharge like some dealers do. And we'll get in when we get talk to Toyota, we'll talk about overcharging. But this truck, if you want probably the biggest and baddest, this is the truck to get in Bison form. But when you look at the pricing in the kind of that mid 60s, and you think of the GMC Twin, which is in the 70s, there's no value there. I can put 35s on a truck fairly easily. Yes, you're getting the front and rear steel AEV bumpers. And I do like their bumpers, but I'll be honest, for the price that you're paying, a $10,000 to $12,000 upgrade, I can put bumpers and wheels on this thing for probably $6,000 and be just as happy. So you kind of look at that. But if you're willing to, hey, I want this Bison package, I want the stitched seats and stuff they do in there. Yeah, damn right. It's a badass truck. Now with some of the Chevrolet it comes with the problems of the 4-cylinder and the loot box stuff they like to do with their their convenience packages. You know, I'm not sure. I'm going to say this, and I'm not 100% sure because I haven't kept up with this. But they were charging if you wanted all the tech as far as the sign reading and all that. They were charging. You know, you do get a subscription to that. I want to say maybe it's a year, depending on the truck. I believe the big boys you're getting a year of it, but past that, if you want that, you have to pay for it. If you don't pay for it, you have this little white blank sign. It still puts the sign out there, and it's annoying as piss. And I don't like where GM's going with that. And I think from what I've read of BMW is getting a lot of feedback that from their customers that they are not willing to pay that. So I think maybe your lower brands like GM is willing to back away from that. And once again, I'm not 100% on that, and I'm running my mouth on that. But if we look at this truck, though, the fenders on this thing, they're fairly beefy. Once again, the rear fenders really kicked out, and I said it in a video I did on this truck where I compared the Ranger Raptor to this. They're pretty equally kicked out. Now you do get a little bit more kick out with the plastic panels on this truck, which is kind of nice because if you're going through some harsh terrain and you were happen to run into a tree or something like that, that might be fairly easy to replace versus the Raptor is it's smaller, more body poking out than the fender itself here. But this truck is a home run on design. I love that from the get go. I've liked the lights, the way they do them. I would like to see something past these little fog lights, something a little cooler. This fake air dam, you could do something there. But if I'm just apples to apples, look, nice big front tow hooks on this thing. You do get in the back of it. You are getting some fun there. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of that real quick. But ultimately, this truck, if this truck was with the Bison package, was say $59,000, dude, it's probably then I'm looking at it over the Ranger Raptor, and I mean that because here's a nice rear photo. Pull this up. I think then I'm willing to go. Okay, I'm getting a lot more off road capability with this truck, just within the bumpers and stuff. The rear bumper on the Ranger, yeah, it kicks up. You know, the exhaust comes out that way, which I liked. But if I had the ability from the factory to get some nice tow hooks like this, and just to be able to from showroom to off road in an hour or whatever it would take you to get your local off road park, dude, this thing is just 100% ready to go. Now, when I did, when I did drive this truck, my driving impressions video, which nobody seemed to watch like they did. I did the walk around. People love that video, but my driving impressions wasn't a big hit for me. When I would get into this engine, it sounds like a diesel. It's loud. It's rattly like a diesel, but you don't seem to get any of the positives from a diesel. It just doesn't get up and go very well, and that was the disappointment because me and Kelly had such fun in this truck, being able to drive it and off road it, that when I took it out on the streets, going okay, because I when I drove this, I had my Ranger Raptor, and it was a nice comparison to get out of that truck into this. It was the Ranger was just so much better. And if I have to go from design to design, it's the GM twins Ranger, and to me Toyota's third. But if I have to go into the drivability, I'm looking at the Raptor, Toyota, and then this truck. And driving experience means so much when you buy a vehicle. Yes, you will want to look at it, turn around. You know the whole meme of if you don't turn around looking at your truck, do you really love it? I get that meme, and I'm with that because I do. I get out right now. I'm getting out of the Bronco Raptor, and every time we go to a store, I kind of look back at it and just smile. And with this truck, you're going to do that. But when you drive this truck on the street, that's where you're going to be disappointed. And if there's someone in the comments that have owned this truck, I'm curious what you guys think about that. Are you going to say, Dave, you're just being crazy? It's a great truck. And people will lie to themselves really quickly because nobody wants to be thought of as their purchase as a disappointment. If you bought this truck, I'm not saying like this truck has to, when you stomp the pedal, like it just has to leave black streaks. But I'm saying when I was getting on an on ramp with it, it wasn't scary, but it reminded me a lot of the Jeep Gladiator, where it was Does it go? Yes. Do you want more? Yes. And that's been my sad opinion of this truck. And there was one when we were looking at the when we're buying the Bronco Raptor, there was a ZR2 at my local showroom that I went to look at. And I just couldn't get past that. I couldn't get past the driving experience of it. Of course, you guys know I'm gonna review them, and that's why I buy them. But at the same point, if I'm buying a vehicle, I for the channel, I want to be 100% excited by it, and I think that's where this truck was gonna kind of let down, let go. Interior color choices too. I love the seats. Everything's so comfortable. I do wish the shifter was on the driver's side. I don't know why they pushed the shifter over towards the passenger side. That's a bummer to me. And if I have to compare that to, the Ranger Raptor where you get kind of that little mouse pad, I did grow to like the little mouse pad in the Ranger Raptor, but I'm a guy. I don't know why. I want the manly shifter, we're gonna say. And so I couldn't rest my hand how I like driving and seeing the positions. Also, I will say in this truck, the armrest position for the window, I know that's not really what they designed them for, was just way high. The window, just the way the seats are, I never felt like, yes, there's an armrest you can use, but I'm a Tennessee boy, man. We always throw our arms out the windows. We roll down the windows and we look stupid that way. And I just never felt comfortable with this. And these are things like I always tell people in my reviews, hey, be honest. You can be brand loyal. I've been brand loyal for a long time to Nissan. Clearly, I bought a lot of Ford here lately. But I think a lot of times if people are honest with themselves and go, if you could put like I get like this press event I was at, I had all three sitting there where I could drive them. If you were able to do that as a customer, I think you might be surprised how well you might like a different brand. My dad, GM guy, all the way through, man. He just put a new engine in his little Sonoma. Spent probably way too much money on this turd. It's like a 2001, somewhere in there. And he blew it up. And he spent a couple weeks taking his time putting a new engine in it. And that's my dad. Like he would rather if you gave him a new little Ford Ranger, he'd drive the GM product. That's just my dad. And I think a lot of people are like that. But I think if you want the best experience you can have buying a vehicle, and Lord knows vehicles are expensive now. They are, you're looking at a lot of cases. I remember as a kid, it was 3 and 5 year car payments, and you wanted the 3 year car payment, for interest rates, you're getting better interest rates. But now at 70 to $90,000 on some of these vehicles, you're what, 72 months, 84 months? It's getting ridiculous what the length of car payments are going to get. So you damn better sure be happy with your purchase. So that's why I push that a lot is I think people really needs to explore other brands. And, if you're watching a car review, say you've been in one of my Ford people that just love the Ford stuff I review, and you go, shit, man, privately in your brain, your monologue is like, the truck is badass. Go drive it. If you're looking for a new midsize truck, go drive it. But my impressions of it, horsepower was just the worst part of that truck, and it was just such a disappointment. Let's see. Clint says, bring us up here. I wish my Ranger Raptor had driver's side grab handles. The Australian model has it. Also, rear AC vents are missing. Still love the truck. Um, yeah, the rear AC vents are a head scratcher to me. I need to reach out to Ford on this, and I always forget about it. I need to figure out why. Now, they may never tell me why because it's some trade secret of some sort, who knows what. But I'm curious why the Australian version gets the rear AC and, every other market seems to, except the United States. And we get the pocket where it's supposed to go, which, I mean, I guess that's cool if you want to put your cell phone in that pocket or whatever. But, it blows my mind away that they're like, no. And if I remember, I believe the Colorado is the only midsize truck that does rear AC vents. I don't remember the Tacomas that we were in having them. They may have, but I just don't recall them having it. But yeah, that is Clint, that is a weird one of that. The grab handles, I'll have to pay attention because that's something I've not noticed, and I don't recall in mine I don't recall in mine about the grab handles at all, now that you mention it. But yeah, no, I the old Nissans used to have nice placement of the grab handles. That was always nice. Um, I know Bronco for Ford, Bronco has somewhat of a grab handle. It's built into the dash, which I think for 26, we're going to see it move to the pillar. But yeah, yeah, it's a weird one. But AC vents would be a huge one for me. I don't sit back there. My daughter never fussed like, "Hey, where's the AC vents?" But she did like it in the Jeep Gladiator we had. She used them quite a bit. So great comment. Let's see. Douglas Blair says, if it got 45 miles per gallon for such a dog, wouldn't it be better? Sure. If your idea of owning a sport truck like this is fuel economy, I think that's where most people, if you own a truck like this or you own a Jeep Wrangler or the Bronco, from the get go, fuel economy is not what it's about. And now I do love to hyperfuel mine. I've yet to take our Bronco out and do my 40-mile hyperloop where I can get some extreme mileage for that vehicle. Um, the Frontier we did, I think did 26. I can't read it from here, but did like 26 miles a gallon, and that's with the naturally aspirated V6. Imagine if Nissan added a turbo to that thing and brought the compression up a little bit. Could you get some more horsepower out of that, but yet retain that really good fuel economy? Because if you look at it, Nissan seems to be out of all of them with the naturally aspirated V6. I see the comments, and you can go to that video I did about 2 years ago now, where we did the fuel economy test on that. I still get comments on that thing going, man, I love this truck. I drive 20 miles each way to work, and I'm getting 25 to 26 miles per gallon in this thing. That says a lot to me. Now, this little 4-cylinder, what would it get? I want to say in the Bison form, it's rated at 18 combined. I know the Ranger Raptor is. Um, but I need something. Fuel economy would be great, but I want my trucks. I want to feel like if I stomp on this truck, and of course I've been buying kind of these sport trucks like this lately. I just want to feel like I'm getting my money's worth. And there's something about it that that I don't know. I don't know. And I know my friend Emmy Hall, she did a race. She tested all three of these and did them on a drag strip. And I think the ZR2 Bison was the slowest out of all of them. And it wasn't even close. Robert says, I like the ZR2 in red or blue. Yeah, when we rolled up to this press event, Robert, and this blue was like, we saw this blue, we were blown away. Blown away. It looks so nice in person. And I mean, you throw some mud on it. Anything looks great when you throw some mud on it, right? But yeah, in person, this truck, that blue shined. And let me see. I've got here's a cleaned up photo I'll pop up here. But yeah, this truck looks great. And it was a little hazy that day. And this is I cleaned this photo up a little bit, but yeah, that looks great, man. I will say, out of all of them too, I think the ZR2 Bison has the best wheels. I love these wheels. They look great, man. And I thought, how can I put these on my Ranger Raptor that I had? I liked them so much. I wish AEV would get with Ford and Ford allow them to do some stuff for them. Because they do stuff with Ram and they do stuff with Chevrolet and GMC, but I really do wish that they would allow Ford, or Ford would allow them to start building some of their stuff, because they do a hell of a job. My last thought on this truck is the seats. Now, we talk about the uh, the Bronco, or the Ranger, and it's got some extreme seats, yes, and it's an extreme truck. You would expect nothing else. So I'm not going to ding it on it. It's got nice black leather with the coat of orange kind of in it just a little bit. But the seat colors in, I got a little video here. I can bring this up. Maybe. Here we go. And it looks like I'm flipping everybody off for some reason. I don't know why. So the color of these AEV, this is one thing I didn't like is the color. the seat color. It wasn't as bad with this blue, but I don't know, something about this color I did not really like as far as the interior, and that's gonna be a ding for me. Once again, that kind of light gray, I don't know, I like the yellow. I like the yellow stitching. I found that to be kind of fun. Let me But yeah, these seats, stupid videos all blurry. I just didn't find it to be, yeah, it was just okay. And something we'll get into with the Toyota about this, about their twins. There's some things I like about what they do and some things I don't, but I feel like they just tried too hard on this thing and the color just did not work. I did tell Kelly, if I said if I was going to buy this truck, I would probably I would probably buy it, and if I was going to own it forever, I would take it to or I'd call Cat Skin and have them redo the interior. That's how much I dislike it. But I'm willing to look past that because the outside design is so nice, just so nice. Um, can we get red stitching in the States? I'm assuming you're talking about for the Ranger, and it does come with that kind of code orange red stitching. Let's see. Clint says, "Do any other manufacturers offer a school like Raptor Assault School?" No, not that I'm aware of. Which is that's one thing Ford's like all in on, and it's included with your purchase of the vehicle, even though you have to pay to get yourself there, hotel and stuff like that. But some good training, especially for if you have no like you're buying a vehicle and you're new to off-roading and you're buying this high performance vehicle. I 100%. I wouldn't want to buy a Lamborghini and they're like, you head to the road course, and they're like, with no training, and they're like, good luck. So why I wouldn't want to buy a high performance vehicle like the Ranger Raptors, the Bison, or anything without any kind of training. I do know in Texas, our friends, I was just at Eagle Canyon Raceway. They have a training school for off road, and so I know it's near Fort Worth, Texas. So if you're anywhere in that area, I would check it out. I can't think of the name of the school at the time, but you can find them through the Eagle Canyon Raceway. And the courses they have out there are nice. They have Raptors, they have I believe Wranglers and Broncos, if I remember right. So which was kind of nice. So I'm big on training. I sent Kelly to the off rodeo stuff, even though you might have heard me kind of poo on it because I'm old school. I'm nearly 50 years old. I'm probably not going to change my ways now, but people that are newer to it, that are open to it, 100% do it. Let's see. So next up, we got to talk about the Tacoma, right? And what I dropped a video on the Trail Hunter, but I did not drop one on this, and I didn't do a full video on this truck because I did Trail Hunter. But this is the Pro, Toyota. We always think Toyota's legendary quality. Well, we're starting to see there's some cracks in that statement because they're having some transmission issues, which they'll take care of. I don't ever feel like Toyota's just going to be like, well, good luck, people. You bought it. That's your problem. But there are a little bit of transmissions issues with this truck, and the biggest takeaway is the four cylinder. Toyota bros are mad, and I mean mad, that this truck has a four cylinder. And we knew it was coming. It's not like you could read the tea leaves and go see what they did to Tundra and go, okay, Tundra had a V8. They went to a smaller displacement twin turbo V6. Guess what's coming? They're going to go from a V6 in the old Tacoma to a small displacement turbo 4. The writing was on the wall. I will say, driving impressions of this vehicle versus the Chevrolet, like I said earlier, Ranger Raptors number one to me because the engine performance. This is number two for me for engine performance. You're going to get, I believe it's 336 horsepower, if I remember right. But it is a hybrid setup. So that little four cylinder is cranking out all it can. And then the hybrid kind of kicks in the extra little bit of horsepower. I believe it's around 40 horsepower it offers. And this truck will go. Now, I said in the video where we were driving the Trail Hunter version of this, it's not gonna like you don't feel like, oh man, it just threw me back in my seats. And the Ranger Raptor really doesn't either. Because the smaller displacement engines are so smooth when they take off. It's not like the big brawny V8s where you just feel the torque of it. Turbos are just it's a little smoother the way the torque band pushes you. But this truck design wise, the exterior of this truck, I was happy with, but I was hoping that Toyota wouldn't make a mini version of the Tundra. Um, I know why all these companies they want to look. It's easier. Okay, people are buying into our design features. Yes, let's just stick with that. I miss the days when the little trucks could be different from the SUVs, and I was in the Forerunner, the new Forerunner, which is interior wise, other than the Forerunner having a back seat, the interior of this thing is the same damn truck, and that kind of pisses me off a little bit. Now I say this, and for Ford, if they do bring the Everest to the United States, guess what? It's going to look just like the Ranger now. I get that. I just for Toyota, I wanted a little more personality. And the personality that they offer with the Toyota poking out of the dash, which I do not like at all. I feel like at some point somebody's going to hurt their arms on that. They're going to be in a crash. You're going to rub your arms across the dash, and it's just going to tear you up. I'm not big on that. The interior of this truck, though, that red, oh my god, the interior is other than the way the big 14-inch screen they use sits, the interior color of this truck is just outstanding, and I love it. I love it a lot. And I don't know that I have any photos, unfortunately, of that because, like I said, I did time in this truck, but it was just like a quick. I already did the trail hunter, and other than I wanted to see the back seats of this truck, I just wasn't. I just wasn't that excited to drive this truck again. But we did a fun little short on it. We all try to get in and out of this thing quickly because of those seats, which let me tell you is hard to do, and your knees will not appreciate the piston sticking out of the back of the seats. Yeah, I don't see anything, but here's what it looks like. I'll throw this up here. This is what it looks like to drive from the driver's position. I Toyota, man, one of their favorite things they do is their steering wheels. I like their steering wheels quite a bit, and it definitely feels like it's out of the big truck, which I've always said the big truck is by far my favorite full size truck. And even though it's not the most popular truck, just my favorite truck. This I'm not a fan. This needs to be blended in, and the same dash they take on the Land Cruiser and the GX 550, they take this dash straight across and it wraps around and it just looks, I don't know, looks more finished to me. Now, this is supposed to be a rugged, tough truck, so I get what they were kind of going for a little bit here, but that's just I don't like it. I don't know. It feels cheap to me as well. Where I think the Ranger felt more when it's kind of in the dash a little bit, just feels more refined. But yeah, the layout, the gauge layout, I think I have a better picture. Let me pull this out here. I think I have a better picture of the layout. Was great. Was just great. Here's kind of a better picture. Pull this up here. Let's see. There we go. So yeah, you can see the gauge readout on this, and this is the Pro. This is the TRD Pro that we're in right here. I love the sporty look of their gauges. I've always liked the way Lexus does theirs, and some of my favorite sedans are Lexus. So I like the crispness of their fonts. I know that sounds goofy, but there's something about a font. People like fonts for a reason. That's why some are popular, some are not. Um, but or is this? You know what? I think this is the Trail Hunter. I apologize. I can't see the heads up display. But yeah, so yeah, here I'm sitting here just completely lying to you guys. But let's see. Do I have? Like I said, I didn't do. So here's an interesting photo. This can four adults fit in a Tacoma with the TRD Pro with the seats. Let's see if it pops up. There it is. The seats, I will say those seats are awesome if you're in the front seat, but if you're in the back seat, not so much. So there's nothing, we're all very American sized people. And there's Tim Esterthal back in the back, and there's room for another in the middle. Except what you can't see is their knees are about that close to yeah, they're about that close to hitting those pistons for those seats. So when you're driving, love it. Very comfortable. For front seat drivers, good job, Toyota. For the back seat drivers, I don't know. I'm really torn. But that red, look at this red. This red, oh my God, looks so good. You can just barely see it by Kelly there. They've got that digital camo into it, which I love a lot. I know some old Doug DeMuro was bitching about his Sequoia, that he didn't like that print. I love that. I really do. And I love this truck, other than a couple of small things that I wish that they would fix. And obviously the horsepower would be key. I think the way Ford has done it, that if you're not 350 to 375 now in a midsize truck for the sport version now, I think it's over. I think that let's be honest, horsepower is that competition you and your neighbor might have. Um, or if you're my overseas friends, what is it, Newtons? But that's what you gauge. You gauge, hey, I've got, oh man, dude, 400 horsepower. What do you got? Oh, 310. You're not even close to me. But the Pro itself, the TRD Pro was a fun truck. And once again, the Trail Hunter, fun truck. The Trail Hunter, you get the snorkel, which was, everybody kept going, oh, you got to this was Toyota. Toyota kept telling me, you got to crack the window. You got to hear the suction of the snorkel. And I'm like, I've heard of snorkel before, guys. Like, I know what they do. That doesn't excite me, but we did it in a video, so we would make Toyota PR team happy. Which is sometimes why you see that stuff. The PR teams push, hey, could you showcase this? Makes it sound brawny and cool. Kelly was, I know when she was driving the truck, she was very the way the shifting was in the truck, she thought it might be a little harsh. And I don't know if that's part of the transmission issues that they're having, is the harsh shifting of this truck. But I will say it was slightly, you've definitely felt it, but I felt it in my Ranger Raptor as well. And I don't know if my buddy Kevin P is still in here, but I've noticed if you put the Ranger into a sport mode, I mean it's does change the characteristics of the transmission, the shift points, the RPM where it's shifting. But second and third, I always felt like we're just like hit hard, and then the rest of them didn't so much. This truck, I will say, first and second, definitely you felt the shifting into third. But it wasn't as bad to me. So I don't know if Kelly just never noticed it in the Ranger Raptor, or it just happened to stand out to her in the Toyota Tacoma. But let's see here. Let's see. Douglas says quality is never free. Profits are hard to come by these days. That they are, and tell dealers that, because dealers, especially Nissan and Ram dealers right now, are all bitching that, hey, I guess I watched an article from CNBC. They did an article on Stellantis the other day. It was pretty good. And they talk about the 4% profits, 4 to 5% profits is what dealerships are making, which doesn't sound like a lot, even though they all still make pretty good money. And then you get into the Ram stuff now, and in the Nissan stuff where they're into the 3, it might be 2.5% profits. So yeah, gets a little difficult for those guys. But let's see. Douglas says 2025/26 Bronco. The Bronco Raptor may be your only V6 offering in the future. Yeah, I've talked about that for a while, Douglas. That I think that the 2.7 goes away in the Bronco, and probably in the Ranger as well. I think you're going to see the power boost version of I'm hoping they do a power boost. Just say that. I don't want a plug-in version of a Ranger. They're doing it in Europe right now. Plug-ins over there are all the rage, but I'd like to see more of the power boost version. If you look under a Ranger right now, you can see where they're going to put the battery. The way it's stamped, you can see the battery pack just without a battery pack there. It'll be under the seats, the passenger seats. But I think a power boost version of that, especially for, Ford loves contractors, they like to preach that. Now they're going to build, yes, they want to build the Raptors and high performance tremors and all that. But I think they like to preach, do hard work with their trucks. And a power boost version would be pretty nice in the back of that. A power boost would, if I was going to buy a full size truck, I definitely would look into that technology and the idea that you can have all that wattage to work with your tools and stuff in the back of the bed. That's pretty cool. I'm not a contractor that needs that, but I do understand the need of it. But I'm a sport truck guy. I like the Zoomies. Now we'll end on this truck right here. Let me pull it up. And it's because it's one of the twins, but I found this nice little place to shoot these trucks. And that was here. So this is at Eagle Canyon Raceway, and there's this guy set up his garage to look like a old golf uh filling station. And I will say the Trail Hunter with its special wheels and stuff in black blew me away. Looks great. I don't generally, even though our Bronco Raptors is black, and it's because we didn't really get a choice on the color. Um, I'm not a big black vehicle guy because I don't want to have to buff these things or have them detailed properly. And this truck really stood out to me how cool it looks. Now the snorkel, you can see the snorkel back here. Um, I don't know. I like snorkels for off-roading. I understand them. It's not for water crossings. It's just cleanest air possible. But I don't know. Their snorkel looks better to me than the way Ford did it with the Bronco. But this truck just the way it was set up there. You got the ARB sport rack in the back. The rigid lights out front. I do like the light bar being out there because I wouldn't buy another light bar if I put a steel bumper on it. I've got a nice, I think it's 20-inch bar. I can't remember how the size of that bar. You've got a nice light bar there. Why do I need more? I parked next to a Jeep Wrangler yesterday. It had two pod lights on the corners, and then on the hood they put a damn 30-inch light bar on the hood. I'm like, who needs this kind of light? I'm blown away at how much light do you actually need out there? Because I've done trails where people with light bars at night, and guess what they don't do? They don't turn them on because you're blinding the piss out of the person in front of you. Now, if it's just you and another truck out running desert stuff, I could get that. But on the tight trails we have here in on the East Coast, we used to be sponsored by one of these light companies for an event I put on, and we had a night run. So I thought it would be fun to showcase these companies their lights. Nobody could ever turn them on because we do these trails at night and just blind everybody. So I think the light bar in the front of this and in the Pro more than plenty, probably more than you need. Um, though I think I believe it only works on high beams if I remember right. There's something strange about that there. But yeah, this truck, much like its twin, the Pro, handled great. Seats are same seats basically, except you're not getting the big pistons, but the outline of the front seats still the same. It's was pretty nice, and I don't like the interior color of this truck as well. But with black, it was not as noticeable. Last year when I got to walk around this, there was that kind of copperish green color that they do, and I don't like that color, and I don't like that color with the interior choices. And it's just Trail Hunter. It's got this kind of greenish swamp tint to it. Any of my Ford people, you'd recognize it through the Everglades. It kind of got that little odd tint to it. But with black, yeah, I would own this truck in a heartbeat if it wasn't $74,000. And then the ones I found locally that I can get my hands on, dealers are charging another 3 to 5,000 over. And I'm not paying $80,000 for a midsize truck right now. Now in 5 to 8 years, when midsize trucks are $80,000, I'm going to have to reevaluate that. But the way it sits right now, I'm not going to do that. Now, taking this truck off road, the Toyotas, all their crawl control features, they probably the best for crawl control features. If you want to one pedal drive, I do find the Toyota setup to be the best out of all three of these. We've taken them all off road. Very nice. But ultimately, the thing for me, this is that dash, that Toyota sticking out of the dash, The pistons in the Pro sticking out of the back, which if it's just me and my wife and we really don't care about a back passenger, I'd probably get that. But I think Toyota's going to need to for the Pro. I think they need to make that optional. And I'm curious what you guys think. If you could get those seats, normal seats in the Pro, and make those as a $3,000 to $5,000, well, I can't say 3 to 5, probably about a $3,000 option. Maybe people would want them that way. But the red interior, oh my God, that red interior is my favorite by far out of all of them. It's just over the top enough. And that's one thing I liked about the Raptor too, is they didn't go nuts. Like, yes, it's got a lot of code orange in there, but they could have really overdone it and they didn't. And I don't think the Bison, they went far enough. I'd like to see maybe a dark leather with the yellow stitching. I think that'd have been cool, and they could have added a lot more yellow to the pop of it. Would be great. Well, let's see what you guys are doing over here. Let's see. The Aaron says the Ranger Raptor is by far the best midsize truck value. It also just happens to be the best truck. Well, I mean, I think that's, each their own on that. I do find it to be the best truck, but not everybody might agree with that. I don't know, man. I guess if you look at, like I said earlier, if you look at 58s where you can get it 57, 58 here in the United States, ZR2, 49, I'm pretty sure, with front and rear lockers, but you do get that weak 310 horsepower 4-cylinder engine that rattles like a diesel. And it doesn't rattle like a diesel in a good way. It's just like, I don't know, man. You feel like the valves are going to pop out of this thing or something. Like it's just clanky. Just not a fan of it. But so that's my opinions on these trucks. I do have some I've got some other opinions that I want to talk about quickly too. I got to do time in the Toyota, the 4Runner. I just want to quickly, I've got a video that will drop out on this. But this I was really excited for this when it was coming to market, and then was kind of let down when I saw it at the Chicago Auto Show last year. But then getting to drive it, I was like, oh, it's still kind of fun. 4-cylinder hybrid setup in this thing. So if you're wanting to go camping and stuff, it's kind of nice to have the battery pack. The LX550 does not get the battery pack. You're going to be with the 3.4 V6, but I do that V6 in that little thing would get up and move, especially if you put it in sport mode. But I really did enjoy my time in this. Now the one on the left is the first edition, and the other is just the Land Cruiser. I don't know why they liked it so much they named it twice. But I'm torn on which lights I like better, because the first edition has that 1958 version lights. But I do have a video coming up on these sometime, hopefully next week it'll be out. But SUV wise, these were really fun. I've done time in obviously the Broncos, which is comparable. I've done time in the old 4Runner, which is not, you definitely, if you like the old 4Runner and you're getting one of these, I think you'd be happy. And definitely this feels like a version of what the 4Runner could have been. But now I sat in the new 4Runner, and yeah, no, it's not even close to what these are. Interior wise, I probably do like these a little bit better because it has their own personality. So I wanted to let you guys know I do have something coming up on that. Let's see. John says, late to the party, I'm still stuck on my 22 Bison with the I work at Ford and have driven the Raptor. I almost bought a 23 or 24 Bison, but felt underwhelmed when overstimulated with tech. That is from the last ZR2 to this one is definitely a jump in tech. But no, the last ZR2 was amazing. It was the only truck you could get front and rear lockers with. And what was it? 30? Did it come with 33s? I can't remember, or 32s. I remember the tires always looked tiny. The way the truck looked, they always looked tiny in it. But great truck. That V6 was great. I wish they would have kept that V6 going. But I get it. Emissions, you got to lose cylinders, and somehow Ford has been able to lose cylinders, and their audience not really fuss like the other brands. And once again, I'll look at my comments today. I always scan through my comments for the day and just see what people are talking about in my videos. And there'll be comments in my 4Runner video there'll be comments in the Trail Hunter video of people just Toyota faithful, just mad about that engine. So doesn't piss me off. Out of all of them, once again, Ford, Toyota, Chevrolet, far as engine design, Chevrolet, Ford, Toyota, and just probably overall value. I'm just going to say it's the Ranger, even though, yes, the R2 people, I know you can get it cheaper, but the engine is a deterrent for me. So I think that's the show today, man. I think, thank you. Thanks, Douglas, for popping in there. The Aaron says, if Toyota prices on the 4Runner like the Tacoma, it will be in the same price as the Land Cruiser. Thoughts? Yes, that's been a concern from the get-go. Why do they need to muddy up the water with the Land Cruiser? Now, we do know the current Land Cruiser is a Prado everywhere else in the world. It's not, I wouldn't say a true Land Cruiser. Now, TRD John dropped a good video the other day where the 300 series is back in the United States in the Lexus. So maybe if you want that true Land Cruiser, though I think they're just bloated. My favorite Land Cruisers are your 96. Is 96 last year. We get triple locked. That kind of, what was it? It was like a heritage edition or something they did. It was really cool. Even the Lexus, because it looks just like the Toyota. There's some fun to be had there. But yeah, no, the waters are going to be muddy, and I have a feeling that you're going to see a 4Runner in the $70,000 price range. And if Toyota, and yes, they make profits on these vehicles, but I'm not going to sit here and say they make $50,000, $60,000 profits on these vehicles per vehicle, but they do well. But if they price that 4Runner, the Pro especially, and the Trail Hunter, if they're in the $70,000 price category, they're not going to be selling. You're going to see a lot of SR5s, and it's going to bum the Overland guys out because they want that Overland tech. They're just not willing to pay for it. And if the SR5s are probably going to be 45 to 48. Yeah. Now do you, for what you get, you look at the Land Cruiser and you're like, which is better? Because I do feel like the Land Cruiser is definitely more roomy than what I thought of the 4Runner. I didn't get to drive the 4Runner, but we were at the Texas, the State Fair of Texas, and Toyota was having a press event, and they brought it out to show the press. And I was happy with it. I thought it looks fun. But 70s, that's gonna be a tough one. So there is a 1 hour show today, guys. I appreciate you joining along. If you would, before you leave, smash that like button for me. I would greatly appreciate that. If you have not yet, and you're one of my 80-some% people who keep watching the show but don't subscribe, I need you to smash that subscribe button for me. Believe it or not, if you like what we do, it opens doors. The more subscriber I have, I've been told by manufacturers, it opens doors. And I'm in a part of the country that press cars are hard to come by right now. So because of all my press fleet comes out of Atlanta, and I'm 4 hours away from Atlanta. So, and I'm on my own island out here in Nashville for press. There used to be some that would trade around cars, but not anymore. So smash that button for me. 100% Douglas Blair. Patreon members are cool. And like the membership here, who Jack Evans is. Jack's a member on the channel, and it's $5 a month or whatever, include the fees that Apple now charges. But yeah, I do special photos and stuff here on the channel on YouTube and on Patreon. I try to give more opinion-based stuff, and just kind of they knew when the Monday show was going to change. They knew a couple weeks ago that change was coming, and I try to let the Patreon people know a little bit more than what's going on. So comments, let me know what you guys think about it. So whether it be 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, or these badass little mid-size trucks, I love driving, and I can only do it because you guys watch this stuff. I appreciate that so much. It's been your All Terrain Nation. I'm your host, David Boyd, and we're out. Peace, everybody. Love y'all.